It is our favorite time of the week again, time for hashtag Rise and Q's, where we get to answer your questions. Saagar, what is up first?
Number one, what do we got here? Do you really believe Trump can launch his own social media? Remember his infamous healthcare plan that never emerged? No,
Excellent
I don't.
Question.
What do you think, Krystal?
I'm a little bit torn because I do think it feels, the thing that persuaded me, I was definitely in the same camp as you of like, no. He floated the third party, he's too lazy, floated the media venture, too lazy. But it would be a good way to make money, and if he hired someone to build it out, he wouldn't really have to do anything, so
It's
maybe.
possible.
I mean, I do think he needs a stream. I think he needs a stream of income.
Yeah.
Look, he's still a rich man, and I don't think he's like on the brink of bankruptcy or whatever. But his brand has definitely taken a hit, and it's toxic in a lot of ways. So, and he may have a big tax liability. No longer gets kind of like the rich people's special privilege around his taxes and his corrupt doings in the financial realm. So, I guess it's possible.
Yeah, look, maybe. I just think I've seen so many half-assed announcements from all of them. It's possible. Maybe he is the king. He's made a lot of money licensing his name, so maybe he'll license his name out to something.
That's interesting.
Maybe the Parler team or whomever will come back with something new, and they'll bring him in on that. But in general, like a Trump-run social media platform, I don't.
Trump-branded social media.
All right, next question.
Are you hopeful for the future of unions based on the unionization efforts taking place in Alabama with Amazon?
Well,
I'm going to say cautiously yes. And the reason is because you've seen more, at least conversation about and awareness of the importance of unions in the last year than we have in a while. The PRO Act is actually a really good piece of legislation that made it through the House. I think its fate is very unlikely to be good in the Senate as long as the filibuster is in place. But I read that even with this organizing drive in Bessemer, Alabama, which I really want to set people's expectations on, I think it's a very difficult landscape for these workers to be able to succeed, not because they don't want a union, but because of the tactics that Amazon and large corporations use to threaten workers with their livelihoods. It makes it really hard to be able to succeed. But even out of the attention that this has gotten, I read that there were 1,000+ Amazon workers across the country who contacted union reps about potentially organizing their workplaces. You do have a much friendlier NLRB in place now under the Biden administration. Those sorts of things do make a difference on the margins. So I think that because the economy has become so unglued and so rigged, there is an increased awareness and support for unions that I hope translates into a little bit of regained power.
Yeah, I think that's right. We'll see, right? In terms of the bet we covered on the show this week about how younger voters and younger members of Amazon in particular were dubious or just didn't really know that much about unions. So in the national stage, I really just don't know, because a defeat would also, it's definitely going to be used by Amazon and others in order to talk about that. But I would say the public consciousness has shifted on unions in a way that actually is profound, which is that right to work is not a right-wing cause celeb amongst politicians. And I think that matters in terms of what the future looks like on that front.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, if you recall back a few years ago, like the Scott Walker thing and all of that.
It was a big thing.
In Ohio and Wisconsin and Michigan, just aggressively trying to undercut unions. And now, look, I mean, that sort of stuff is still going on. They're a lot quieter about it, lot less bold, because they're afraid of being seen as the anti-worker, which is the right way to look at them.
Yeah, wow.
All right, Saagar, I'll pitch this one to you. What's the best approach the Biden administration can have towards China?
Well, it's been a mixed bag so far. I actually think they've done, I would say, better than not. They came in, Anthony Blinken said he wasn't going to dispute the Uyghur genocide declaration. There was a huge confrontation in Anchorage over the weekend in which the two officials really did verbal jousting, which actually is an improvement. There's no way Obama would ever have authorized his diplomats to ever say any of the things. We hit them with a large amount of sanctions. We'll see. I really don't know, which is that there is a fear, I do have this fear, which is that they don't realize how far the Overton window has shifted and how things could change. So, for example, they are sanctioning now on Hong Kong. They're now sanctioning on Uyghur genocide. They are talking a lot more about human rights. But emphatically the system of economic pushback, talking about intertwinement, is going to be the same. The thing is, the Chinese are in a corner, and they could act aggressively. So the question to the Biden administration is, are you going to step up when that happens, or are you going to back down? Because if you back down, it would be, frankly, even more disastrous, because it could lead to more, South China Sea, all of that. It's a complicated issue. And yeah, I think I would say on balance, it's not as bad as I thought it would be, which I do think is a good thing.
I will just say that Rahm Emanuel's being floated as ambassador to China. Don't do that. That's my advice.
All right.
All right, we'll have more for you later today.